Honorable members, Madam Speaker.
Prayer.
Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness have appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of humanity, we beseech you to look upon with your abundant favor these your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of such important trusts in this land. Let your blessing descend upon them here assembled, and grant that they may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under their deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the good of those whose interests you have committed to their charge. Amen.
Good for you here or you hold because I can hold. Item 2, administration of oath. Right Honorable Speaker, following the demise of Honorable Kelo Charles Patrick Engola Machoduogo, Member of Parliament for Yam North County or Yam District on Tuesday, 2nd May 2023, the position of Member of Parliament for Yam North County fell vacant. Pursuant to Article 81(2) of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda 1995, the Clerk to Parliament notified the Electoral Commission of this vacancy in Parliament. On 6 July 2023, a by-election was held, after which the Electoral Commission communicated in writing to the Clerk to Parliament the election of Dr. Eunice Otuko Apio as the Member of Parliament representing Oyam North County. Right Honorable Speaker, in furtherance of Article 81(4) of the Constitution and Rule 3.1 of the Rules of Procedure, the member-elect is present and ready to take and subscribe to the oath. Therefore, seek your authorization to admit the member.
Member is granted to come in. It's authorized. Honorable members, let's listen to the member take an oath.
Protect and defend the Constitution. So help me God. I, Eunice Otuko Apio, swear in the name of the Almighty God that I will give faithful service to this Parliament and support and uphold the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda as by law established. So help me God.
Everywhere. Yeah. Yes.
One is my low budget now. My low budget.
Honorable members, I want to welcome Dr. Eunice Apio. Welcome to Parliament of Uganda. And I sincerely want to congratulate you on behalf of the 11th Parliament. Congratulations. And welcome to 11th Parliament. The Parliament that you're joining is a people-centered Parliament, united in serving the needs of the people, and of course, the aspirations of the common Ugandan. And I urge you to abide by the Constitution that you've sworn. You've sworn to pay allegiance to the Constitution and abide by it. I want once more to congratulate you. And on a special note, I want to congratulate the President of UPC, Honorable Kena, and UPC at large. I want to congratulate you, and I am going to give you the Constitution of Republic of Uganda, 1995. This Constitution will help you in what you've sworn to pay allegiance to, and in doing your work, day-to-day work in Parliament of Uganda. We have the rules of procedure, and the rules of procedures are also here that you will be using in doing your work on a day-to-day. And in Parliament, this side of the House is for opposition, and this side, the right-hand side, is for government. This side is for government, still with the coalition. So you can choose where to sit. For now, we have free sitting, but your president will guide you. You can actually sit near the vice president. I mean the prime minister, but welcome. Honorable Eunice, you have to sign.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And the arrangement of the House is pursuant to Rule 9. Opposition sits this side, ruling party sits this side. Thank you. Please have a seat.
Item 3, communication from the chair.
Honorable members, I welcome you to this afternoon sitting. As the financial year 2023-2024 gains traction. And as the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development disburses the approved budgets to the various expenditure centers, I have noted and have gotten reports of the money that has been returned and spent from different districts, from different votes, back to the consolidated account, fund account. We may need to have a reconciliation on that money that has been returned. We need a reconciliation on that money. The failure of some entities to effectively utilize their budgets is an indictment of the planning function at various levels that affect our national development aspirations. Because if you've budgeted for 1 billion and you've not been able to consume and use all the money, and you're returning it, then you're affecting the budgeting, the planning process. So you must always budget for what you know you're going to consume. And that still comes back to us in Parliament that we should not disburse money when it is towards end of the financial year, because this money will not be consumed. Whereas our role as members of Parliament is to do appropriation of the budget, we also owe to this country to ensure that people are represented well, they approve the budgets, help in reducing poverty, and help in working for the living conditions of our people. Let's not just approve, but let's make sure that we follow the use of this money that is approved. I therefore call upon the leaders and the technocrats to ensure that efficient, effective, and economic utilization of the funds that are approved is being done. Honorable members, considering that we are in the 4th year of implementation of the National Development Plan 3, it's imperative that the resource utilization matches the national development aspirations. And that's why I am emphasizing on the issue of utilization of the money and the projects to be completed. I want to ask members, please don't sleep on your jobs. Ensure that you make a follow-up with your constituencies, with your districts, with most of the MDAs to ensure effective use of this money is done. Once more, I want to welcome Honorable Eunice Apio to Parliament of Uganda. And this is your parliament. It's a people-centered parliament. And in parliament, while we are in parliament in the house here, we are not on parties. We work as members of parliament, we work for the people of Uganda. We will not say Eunice of UPC, no. Eunice, the member of parliament of Uganda. So we look forward to working with you. And this house is a very friendly, united house, very loving members of parliament, and very hardworking. And I pray that you serve the people of Oyam the way they expect of you. Thank you. Yes, Royal Guard. Honorable Angora. On the communication, all of you.
Yes.
Honorable members, I want us to agree on one thing. Those who have matters of national importance will come at the Prime Minister's time, so that the Prime Minister is able to answer everything at a go. And let's limit. We have a very important message from Attorney General that you're waiting for. So I don't think we should waste a lot of time. Yes,
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I just want to
Honorable members, before we just hold on. I want to give an instruction that before we get a report from the Committee of Infrastructure on the guidelines of the use of 1 billion shillings, which has been sent to districts, which is being misunderstood, that money should not be used first. Chairman, we need those guidelines here on Tuesday. That this house must approve those guidelines. No use of the 1 billion shillings by districts.
thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, in reaction to your communication, you've rightly said that as we come to the close of appropriation, many MDAs, ministries, departments, and agencies return money to the consolidated fund. It is a common practice for us from the accountability side. We refer to it as sweeping because the system switches off automatically, so most of these funds are not absorbed. And Madam Speaker, you've raised a pertinent issue, which we have kept inquiring into, and maybe we shall now get further guidance on how to proceed with it. When this money comes back, you remember we do appropriation and even pass the budget before we know how much is going to come back. And we assume that the collections that are going to be mobilized from whether locally and development partners will service the budget that we approve. And these funds now come back. And we need to come up with a very good understanding as to how we shall be treating those funds, despite the call that we have been receiving that those funds are absorbed into the budget. And some of them go back as supplementaries. We need to understand that much. But also, Madam Speaker, there's a very serious issue that is causing this sweeping back of these funds. One, let release. Then two, we also have now a common issue related to capacity building. Many times we are told the system towards the end of appropriation is so slow. They try to log in. I don't know what system that login is, and it ends up switching off without the money being absorbed. We can even literally be made to understand that it is an intention. It is an intention that the money is going to be taken back. You fail the entities from absorbing by making it difficult for the system to be accessed. So, Madam Speaker, I think this is an observation that is good, and we need to take up this very seriously to support our entities, MDAs and ministries and agencies to absorb this money, but also to come up with a strong position that money that is not spent for activities that were planned and budgeted must go back in the first supplementary schedule in order to complete those programs and activities. I thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, about, I think 3 months ago, we made a resolution here, Right Honorable Speaker, on certain accounting officers who did not perform. I remember there was an accounting officer, if I recall very well, areas of Makindye. There was an accounting officer, I think from the areas of Mitiana. Right Honorable Speaker, we made a resolution and government pledged and promised this house that they are going to act on these accounting officers. To date, as we are talking, these same accounting officers have been recycled and they are still in office, Right Honorable Speaker. This is why we are getting these challenges.
Get us the list of the names that were recommended by this house, and we see whether they are still in the office.
Much obliged, right?
Let's have, because to the best of my knowledge, they laid a list of accounting officers on the floor and those who were stopped from being accounting officers. So bring the list.
Much obliged, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Kiror.
I want to thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for your communication, and I rise in reaction to the same. Right Honorable Speaker, this is in respect of the funds which are taken back, which are swept back. it's very painful that you find monies of a project which has reached a level of roofing, but you find because of that time lapse, the money is swept back. Right, Honorable Speaker, for us to realize development and progress in this country, it is very important that we stamp our feet as a parliament, that the funds which have been swept back should immediately be reverted. We should be able to revert these funds back so that they are able to complete the project. But it appeals much also to the legislation. Now, there are these funds which are donor, there are projects, for example, bank for World Development Bank. These funds are given to the country to perform, but you see, they are part of the funds which are also swept back. So we should be able to have.
Honorable members, I am happy the Prime Minister is concerned also about the swept.
Most obliged.
Now, that swept money, from the accounting view, I want to ask the Committee of Finance to do this house a favor and look at a statement of that account on the 30th June. 30th of June. How much money was there? Then I want also a statement on the last day, 31st. I am speaking as an accountant now. I want us to reconcile that account. Let's have the statement before the sweeping, and then the statement after the sweeping, and then a reconciliation on the sweeping. If what was swept back is 5 billion, 1 billion came from Bukedea, the other one came from this, I am giving finance 1 week to do that. Where you need consultancy services, I'm available. Honorable members, this is a serious matter. When you're doing appropriation, you appropriate and say the source of funding is going to be ABCD. I have never seen a balance carried forward from the last financial year. Yes, Doctor, not on sweeping.
Madam Speaker, I wanted to propose further, apart from reconciliation, if we could establish why was the money returned, it would help us. It would help us. Let me make my point. It would help us to understand whether it was the mistakes of the institutions or whether it was the deliberate.
Honorable members, listen to the idea, to what Professor is saying.
I'm saying, if we also go further and establish if money was returned from Bukedea, why was it returned? Was it a weakness of a local government, or it was a deliberate effort from the center to not to release money in time?
Honorable members, we have sectoral committees. The sectoral committees are responsible to do that. That's one. Two, PAC Central will do that work also.
Most obliged.
Yes, Chairman PAC.
Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you. There are basically 3 things we should be considering as far as this matter is concerned. Number one, Honorable Speaker, the Minister for Finance should be able to come and explain why releases are made very late. You recall towards the end of last financial year, 6 days to the end of the financial year, the minister was here boasting how they had released the money. 6 days to the end of the financial year. And then Professor is talking about reasons. The reasons are known. Monies are released late, and they are supposed to do procurement and recruitment. And these are processes. So ordinarily, money has to be swept back. So the ministry, the finance ministry should be able, Right Honorable Speaker, to explain why releases are made late. And Right Honorable Speaker, in accountability committees, the questions being asked here, we have asked them. In fact, there are entities where they receive more than what was budgeted for. An entity budgets, let's say for 15 billion, 15 billion is actually warranted and they receive 17 billion. And then we are asking, how does this come about? So these are the questions, Right Honourable Speaker, that I'm sure the Finance Committee should be able to understand. But also, Right Honourable Speaker, as a way of addressing this matter, now that the learned Attorney General is here, Senior Counsel Chiriowa Chiwanuka, we should seriously consider looking into reforming the Public Finance Management Act. Because if it is condition precedent to returning, and that's what the law says, sometimes these entities' hands are tied. So that is a matter, maybe perhaps the Finance Committee.
And
should
maybe
also
when you
consider.
return, that should be the first call when the money has been returned. When the first quarter starts, that money should be taken back.
Yeah, and those are legislative issues that we can discuss, Right Honourable Speaker.
Honorable members, I wish you could understand why I have asked for that simple audit. I wish you could understand. You don't even need to debate on it. You need to wait for results. You need to wait for results. Don't even dilute what I have asked for. Don't dilute it, because few of you know figures. All of you, each of you have your specialty, but I know why I'm asking. Honorable members, in the public gallery this afternoon, we have teachers of Nama Umea Primary School and students, that is Mukono, represented by none other than Honorable Nabukera Hanifa and Honorable Kayondo, Honorable Kiwanuka. Please stand up, the students. Hey, sorry. Students, we love you. I know you're watching and you're hearing. And thank you for bringing our MPs. Honorable members, in the public gallery this afternoon, we have a mighty team of a delegation from Oyam. Honorable Ebil. Honorable Ebil, you're most welcome, and these people are represented by none other than Honorable Santalom and Honorable Apio. They are here to witness their member of parliament being sworn in. You're most welcome to Parliament of Uganda. Thank you. Join me in welcoming them. Honorable members, the Prime Minister wants to give a statement on the returned monies. Want to say something on the
Right
returned
Honorable
monies?
Speaker, thank you so much. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, Cabinet already is aware of all this, and we had a meeting chaired by the President himself, and he directed that the monies that are swept to the consolidated fund should be returned in the first quarter of a financial year. And the decision has already been taken. So, Right Honorable Speaker, in addition to what they are going to do, which I thought you needed to know this. Thank you so much.
Honorable members, you've heard. Yes, Morris. Honorable members, my investigation still stands.
Thank you.
My investigation, I want an investigation. I want a reconciliation on that account.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. And we appreciate the statement from the Prime Minister. But Right Honorable Speaker, already the release for the first quarter has been sent. And we wanted to know from the Prime Minister whether, as the instruction from the President was to have that money sent, it has been added and sent, because it has not been sent.
Yes, Yes, of course, then Professor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, all the activities that we have prepared money for comes after planning for it. And in this situation where the Prime Minister is saying there is already a directive that all those monies that have been swept back in the first quarter supposed to be remitted back to whatever entities that the money is coming from. Could it be to clarify, if those activities was not budgeted for, how will it now fit? Because we have already seen how the system switches off, and sometimes if they've already budgeted for those activities, we have prepared the money from here again. How will it now match? So I think the directive that you gave can still stand and stand well so that we can know exactly where that money has been kept. Besides also, before, when during the time of Budget Act, some of those monies, if it has already been committed, they always retain it. It doesn't come back. They don't sweep it until when the Budget Act was, we amended it. We brought the Finance Act to replace.
At the time when you're passing the budget bill, the appropriation bill, that money is not included.
Yes.
It's not part of the appropriation. Yes, give Professor of
That's the
accounts.
point I was trying to
Give
mean.
Professor of
Thank you.
accounts. Now let me hear from Professor.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. First of all, I have to thank you for directing so. One, we normally pass the budget around May because my chairperson Parker was saying the minister should explain. Even when the Minister of Finance explains, you know, URA collects money until the end of June. And when they collect money, they will tell you the money goes to the consolidated fund, which is rightly so. And definitely, they have to release the funds, but it is late when these funds can't be absorbed. Then two, because we pass the budget in May, the funds which are swept back are not appropriated. That is one. But from PAC, the colleagues from PAC, when these funds go back to the consolidated fund, they are the first source. The first source for spending. Then plus the funds collected by URA. But it is irregular because these funds are spent when they are not appropriated. But I'm very sure, Right Honorable Speaker, why you are saying so. What we normally look at as balances, the money is very, very little compared to what is swept back. I would just cite an example for the financial year 2021-2022. The fund is swept back for Ministry of Local Government is 26 billion. 26 billion. And actually what was spent was 29 billion from the initial approved budget. So if you consider other ministries, that would imply billions of funds. Okay, so Right Honorable Speaker, I want to support you. You have directed it very, very well. I will give you the information because I think we will include reviewing the law so that these funds are appropriated again. And now the single treasury account, Madam Speaker, what is everything? Because an entity which has the hard funds swept back cannot have those funds given to it at the beginning of another financial year until invoices are raised. And these invoices must be raised according to the appropriated funds. That is the weakness, which I
The
believe
invoices are raised according to appropriated
Honorable,
funds, and these
the
funds
speakers around.
were not
Thank you.
appropriated for. Honorable members, the invoices are raised as per what? Appropriated funds. And these returned swept funds are not appropriated for. And we are talking about reconciliation. How much came from where? And if we are using it fast, How much are we using? How much have we received from swept funds? Next,
Madam Speaker.
honorable members, let's not talk about that item anymore. Let's have a reconciliation. And that reconciliation will help this house. I have given it to finance. Let's first start with only this last financial year. Let's have the last financial year. I want only one financial year. And I have discussed this with Attorney General. We are in agreement with this. We must move together. And I mean, transparency is very important. Next item.
Item 4, statement.
Okay. Yes, Dr. Pio.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. The procedural issue is on the 1 billion that you've asked the committee to come up with the guidelines. However, we also have the Uganda Road Fund releases for this quarter. And the information that we have is that only 10% of the funds have been released, as opposed to the 25%.
We discussed about that issue.
The issue is on.
No, we discussed about it and was referred to the committee.
Right Honorable Speaker, what I was talking is on the road fund, not the 1 billion.
I am saying the road fund money. Didn't I refer to the committee? Government Chief Whip, didn't I refer to the committee? Inform me of members.
Right Honorable Speaker, I have nothing useful to add. You did your part. Thank you.
Thank you.
Obliged.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I raise the issue of redeemed energy, and the Prime Minister.
Prime Minister is going to handle during Prime Minister's time.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yes, next item. Honorable Jara, come back. Come back. And Honorable Professor, I told you to mark all the chairpersons. All chairpersons must be in the house on a daily basis. You're not in? Okay. Next item.
Item 4, statement by Minister on the status of local councils 1 and 2.
Honorable members, yeah, this issue was being discussed and we gave the minister time to come and present today and the issue of local council on the issue of local council 1 and 2, which expired on 10th July 2023. And members have raised this issue severally. And pursuant to Rule 52 of the Rules of Procedure, the Attorney General is going to present his statement. Attorney General.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker and honorable members of Parliament, ladies and gentlemen, Right Honorable Speaker, I have been requested by this August House to make a statement in relation to the status of Local Council 1 and Local Council 2 administrative units. As this House was informed by the Honorable Minister of Local Government, the term of the Local Councils 1 and 2 expired on 10th July 2023. As we all appreciate, this is a serious matter that goes to the very foundation of our governance, which mandates that all power belongs to the people, and the people will express their will and consent to be governed through regular, free and fair election.
Members, is the statement uploaded?
Yes.
Please.
Yeah.
Okay.
Indeed,
uploaded.
a careful
Yes.
reading of the
There is
Constitution.
a procedure matter. Why don't you leave him to finish reading?
Madam Speaker, yesterday you instructed the Minister for Justice to come in, and he came in. We are listening to a matter that is very paramount in the Minister of Justice's sector, and he's not here.
Honorable,
And he's not here, Madam
Honorable,
Speaker.
I have a schedule of who attends when. Even yesterday, the minister said in their ministry, they have a schedule who attends. Yesterday was a day for the minister. Today is a day for Honorable KK. On Tuesday will be for Honorable Kafusi. So I am I am allowing him to do it, and he's representing the ministry.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for your wise guidance. Indeed, a careful reading of the Constitution indicates that the framers of the Constitution were careful to ensure that there should never be a vacuum. There should never exist a vacuum that takes away the power of the people, as above mentioned. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, members of Parliament, I'm here to assure you that the government of Uganda is fully seized with this matter, and we are going to come to the House next week with a concrete way forward for the support to ensure. Right Honorable.
Honorable members, honorable members, honorable members, honorable members. Honorable members. Honorable members, your reaction is premature. Why don't you wait for him to finish? Then you debate on the document.
Right Honorable Speaker.
Now you're debating on anticipation.
Not anticipation.
Okay, first sit.
Okay.
First sit. First sit. First sit. Can we have the statement concluded?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. To seek your support, allow us to come to the House next week to seek your support to ensure that the representation of our people is sustained in accordance with the dictates of the Constitution and our law. I therefore request you to give us time to conclude the internal consultations to obtain the necessary approval of cabinet as provided for under the Local Governments Act to enable us to prepare a way forward to present to this House.
Let him finish the last sentence. There is only one sentence.
Right Honorable Speaker, government would like to assure the public that the apparent void created by the absence of the administrative units is being handled. Yes, as we pursue and await the necessary cabinet approvals and parliamentary approval, we advise that the immediate recently elected leadership of the administrative units should continue rendering the necessary services to the people of Uganda in observance of the spirit and principle of the Constitution that there should never be a vacuum in leadership. Right Honorable Speaker, government is proceeding with
Can you finish? Can you finish? Allow him to finish. First finish.
Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, order.
Right Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, government is moving currently and preparing the necessary documentations for amendment of the law in accordance with Section 175 of the Local Governments Act. I beg to submit.
Thank you so much. Sechi.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker and members, I'm at a loss. The Attorney General, the Land Attorney General, gave an opening statement how power belongs to the people, who must decide how and when they should be governed. And he enumerated Article 1 of the Constitution and said that is the way people are governed. But then at the same time, the same breath, the same point, he went on to say that he's aware that the term lapsed on 10th of July. And now they are going to sit as cabinet to come up with a way forward and amend and present a workable arrangement to this House. Right, Honorable Speaker, what happens between the 10th and when cabinet shall sit down? Number two, you also on TVs, the LC1 chairpersons returning the stamps. They were returning them, meaning that their term had expired. So what is happening since then and now, and him being a landed attorney general, he knows that courts are moving on. People need LC1 letters to stand surety for the suspects in courts of law. He knows that people are transacting every day requiring the stamp of the chairpersons of villages to endorse those transactions. He knows that the biggest section of our people and the governance structures are right from the villages that total more than 70,000. So is the right honorable Speaker, is the Land Attorney General in order to come and take matters of democracy and governance of this country in such...
Honorable members, one thing we need to clear is, since the AG says there is no vacuum, is there legitimacy of the decisions that are being taken by the LOC1 systems now? Those are things, because Honorable Attorney General, I want that clear first. Since you're saying there is no vacuum, is there legitimacy from the legal perspective?
Yes.
Not political.
Right Honorable Speaker, the advice I render is legal advice. And if anyone doubts it, they need to go and challenge it in court. So this advice, no, what I'm saying, Right Honorable Speaker, is that the advice I'm rendering is to cover the void.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Right Honorable.
Yes.
It is
honorable members, let's have respect for each other. You're in this house to respond to what is raised. Don't tell us to go to court. That's why we have a legal advisor. You know, you're one of my favorite ministers, but now here for you to tell us to go to court.
My sincere apologies, Right Honorable Speaker.
No.
I withdraw that statement.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Thank you. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. My issue is with the Attorney General. Of course, he says the advice he gives is illegal, but I wanted him to guide this house, because the first or the most cardinal role of this parliament is to uphold the constitution of this country. So for us to sit when there is a violation, I don't think it's right. I wanted the Attorney General to guide us to the provisions, because even when he guides legally, he should be basing on some legal provisions to make reference, to refer us to some provisions of the law against which he leans to tell us to wait or even give mandate to the existing structures to continue operating. So I would want him to help us understand where he bases the argument and what guides his wisdom in that.
Thank you. Would you want to respond to whichever is raised? No, let him respond.
Thank you, Right
Maybe it
Honorable.
Right
helps.
Honorable Speaker, my advice is based on Section 45 of Local Governments Act, which provides for administrative units.
Right, Honorable Speaker.
But you're putting an order, you've not finished with citing the law. We need to know the law so that you check whether it's the right law or not. Honorable, cite the law.
Right Honorable Speaker, I'm relying on Section 45 of the Local Governments Act, which provides for administrative units of councils and committees at the village levels. I'm relying on Section 175 of the Local Governments Act, which provides for the schedules that are set out in the Local Governments Act, and third schedule, Regulation 11, which empowers the local government minister to extend and term of office of local government. Yes, Right Honorable Speaker. Right.
Proceed.
Honorable members, honorable members, honorable members, Section 45 is administrative units, councils, and committees. There shall be administrative units based on A, in rural areas, the county, parish, and village. B, in urban areas, the parish or ward, town board, and the village. That is the administrative units. There shall be a council in each level of administrative units. That is 45. And then 175. Did you say 175? 175. That is regulation and amendment of schedules. Regulations and amendment of schedules. 1, the minister may, by statutory instrument, make regulations for further carrying into effect of the provisions of this act. The minister. 2, the minister may, by statutory instrument and with the approval of cabinet, amend, replace, alter, or revoke any of the schedules provided under this act. And the minister shall not have powers to delegate this function. 3, the minister shall, as soon as practicable, alter the publication of the statutory instrument under this section. The instrument to be laid before Parliament, and the Parliament may amend or revoke the statutory instrument. And if no amendment, the revocation is effective within 2 weeks. It's being laid before Parliament and it shall be deemed to have been approved. What is the relationship between this and election? No, I am just asking the relationship between Section 175 and the election of. Now, if we are talking about an extension, there must be a statutory instrument, and if there is a statutory instrument, Honorable Attorney General, do you have the statutory instrument that you want to? Do you have it? If you have it or you're going to make it, tell us you're going to do it.
Right Honorable Speaker,
Right Honorable Speaker, in my statement, I did state that you allow me time to have the approval because like you have read, Right Honorable Speaker, the instrument that is required to be done is supposed to be approved by cabinet, and after approval by cabinet must come to parliament for approval.
All right. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I am just seeking clarification from the Attorney General. He clearly stated that the term of office, he understands that expired. I want to seek clarification from government and the Attorney General. According to him, what happens between now and when the government, that is next week, are these committees illegal according to him or legal? Secondly, according to Honorable Sechikubo, there are some chairpersons who have returned the stamps already. And there are those who have not returned the stamps. And arguments are being made in the villages. If anyone goes to court and challenges these agreements, what happens there? Can the Attorney General advise our people on how to operate in their villages? In the absence of these committees, I received the information from Honorable Abedi Wanika.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want a more clarification from the Attorney General. Article 181 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda. 4, all local government councils shall be elected every 5 years.
Not May.
Not May. And the schedule 3, which you are quoting, the provision there for extending their term is only when there is war or in the case of a state of emergency. Is government planning to declare a state of emergency? Number two,
Honorable members, we are not in a state of emergency. We are not even about to declare. The issue of local government is very simple. The issue of local government is very simple. How many villages do we have in Uganda?
Right Honorable Speaker, there's about 71,000 villages. But just to clarify on something that Honorable Abed asked, LC1 and LC2 are not local governments. They are administrative units. You want to refer to Article 176 of the Constitution, which says the local government system, they are part of the local government system, but they are not local government. Yes, let me read it for you.
That is
subject to Article 178. The system of local government in Uganda shall be based on district as a unit, under which there shall be such local governments and administrative units as Parliament may prescribe. Article 207 of the Constitution tells you what a local government is, and it includes only a sub-county, a district, and a parish. So it is not a local government. So the amendment being brought, is only to deal with administrative units, not local governments.
Honorable Attorney General. Honorable Attorney General, whether it is administrative units, whether it is what, are we supposed to have elections for it?
Yes, Right Honorable Speaker. The one for local governments is set out as
the administrative units.
Yes, the local government is set out in Article 181.5. The one for administrative units is set out in 170 of the Local Governments Act, and hence we can deal with it under that amendment.
Let me
So we're
hear,
not touching this
let
constitution.
me hear the shadow attorney general. Let's first hear from the shadow.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Well, I have a lot of respect for my junior, but senior since he occupies that position. But with all the due respect, I am at a loss on the kind of interpretation he has ascribed today, especially when he says there is no vacuum. Right Honorable Speaker, although yes, it is true, local council 1 and 2 are mere administrative units, they also have quasi-judicial functions. And part of the quasi-judicial functions are clearly stipulated in the Local Council Courts Act of 2006. Now, the expiry of the term of those administrative units implies that the quasi-judicial functions of those units cannot be dispensed with when their term has expired. And there is no way you can apply to extend an already expired term. And even if you were to extend an expired term, that kind of extension cannot apply to the act we passed in respect of Local Council Courts Act. So unless they want to completely remove the quasi-judicial functions from these administrative units, and then say we are going to extend in respect of only the functions of administrative units, excluding the quasi-judicial functions, then we do not even need those units to be there, because one of their cardinal roles is actually the quasi-judicial function. So we either have the elections for LC1 and LC2, or we agree that yes, you have run broke as a country, you can no longer manage, bring a constitutional amendment, and we remove them all together. But otherwise, to say that everything is normal because they can extend the term, in my view, is disrespectful. And I therefore move a motion that the statement by the Attorney General be rejected and expunged from the record.
Thank you, Right Honorable.
Yeah,
Thank you,
moving a
Honorable
motion
Member,
that
for
way.
giving way. He gave me information.
Yes, the motion, Madam Speaker, I have moved is that it's a motion without notice, that the statement by the Attorney General be rejected by this House and be expunged from the record.
Honorable members, expunging the statement is not going to solve a problem. What is going to solve the problem is for us to discuss on how to renew, on how to have these members elected. That is what we need. We cannot expand that statement. Yes. And the good thing, the Attorney General accepted there is a virtue.
Much obliged, Right Honorable Speaker. The Land Attorney General knows that I hold him in very high regard, being my senior at the bar, and in all respects. Two things have happened today, Right Honorable Speaker. One is that we have had the Member of Parliament sworn in as a matter of law and the Constitution. If there were powers anywhere that anybody could instruct someone to fill the vacuum, would have had an MP for Oyam in the interim as government prepares for elections. But because the law cannot be vacated, we had to have an election in that constituency. I know it is summer in Uganda, Right Honorable Speaker, and the government could be on holiday. That's why the Land Attorney General.
We're on holiday. Honorable Leader of Opposition.
Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Leader of Opposition. As we speak now, the elephant in the room is how do we regularize the tenure of the expired LOC 1s and 2, whether people are on holiday or not. The issue is regularizing.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And that's why now the Prime Minister is paying attention, having referred to summer holidays. Honorable Speaker, we heard from the Land Attorney General that he was aware that these councils expired on the 10th. And he also quoted a law which is going to use to come next week to try and regularize and hazard a response to the crisis, Honorable Speaker, meaning that clearly there's no preparedness. For the whole of last week and this week, we have been demanding for clarity on the situation. The Land Attorney General claims that he was close with the law to vacate the crisis and never came to the House to say so. He's now bidding for time. Honorable Speaker, our mandate as members of Parliament is non-delegable. We cannot delegate this mandate as custodians of the Constitution. There's no doubt. We have listened to the Land Attorney General. He has not spoken anything new as far as the law that sets into motion the existence of these councils is concerned. And the fact that they made mention of the fact that we can go to court spoke volumes.
No, he withdrew.
Of course, we withdrew, but the intent remained. The spirit remained, meaning that.
No, he withdrew.
I concur.
Yes.
I concur, Honorable Speaker, meaning that the lack of legal and political will still exists in the government. Right, Honorable Speaker, I want to invite the House on both sides of the aisle. I would like to invite the House. Procedure, right, Honorable.
Yes, there's an order.
Right, Honorable Speaker and colleagues, the LOC system is the system that was brought in this country by the NRM government.
Tell him. Yes, Prime Minister.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I wanted the member to be attentive so that I can speak my mind. Right, Honorable Speaker, the LOC system was brought in this country by the NRM government. That now means we are the brain workers of the LOC system. Is he in order to insinuate that this government does not have a will to cause the election of LOCs, yet we have the majority in this country? In order.
Is in order.
Honorable members. Honorable members. Honorable members. Honorable members, can I have some attention? Who has said Nabanja? She's Honorable, Right Honorable Prime Minister Nabanja. She's not Nabanja. Honorable members. Honorable members. I want to Honorable members, you want to finish?
Yes, because I was interrupted, Right Honorable Speaker. And I want to agree with the Right Honorable Prime Minister, and we congratulate the NRM for bringing LCs on a fire truck which has caught fire.
Can you finish?
Yes, yes, Right Honorable Speaker. You see, the invitation for me to this house on both sides of the aisle is to see our duty as parliament and not to be taken for granted. Initially, we were being informed that there was no money, and a huge bill of 56 billion was being flashed around with no premise at all. Then second, we were told that they were in existence legally. We asked for the law, and the statutes were opened, and there was nothing to really show for it. And you can confirm that from the Land Attorney General, he was trying to hazard some quotation of the law, but we know the law a little bit, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to invite the House to reject that statement. And if government is not ready, these members of parliament are coming from constituencies that are actually seated on hot plates. There's chaos in the communities.
There is a procedure matter, but before you come with your procedure, I want to refer the Attorney General to Article 1112 of the Constitution. The function of cabinet shall be to determine, formulate, and implement the policies of government and to perform such other functions as may be conferred by this Constitution or any other law. Would you mind giving this House maybe the timelines, the roadmap on this matter with the tangible timelines, really?
Right Honorable Speaker, the proposal will be before Cabinet. It's going to be on the agenda on Monday, and the Minister of Local Government will be appearing in the House on Tuesday with a proposed amendment to resolve this impasse.
But do we agree legally that is a problem?
Right Honorable, there is a challenge which
There is a challenge, yes. Do we agree that there is a challenge?
Which the law
legally?
is going to address, Right Honorable.
The law is going to address?
It's going to address it all the way from the 10th. So that's why we are saying that they should be allowed to continue providing these services, because the proposal we are bringing is to address it from the 10th.
Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members. Honorable members. Let's allow government. Let's allow government. This is a very serious matter. All of you have LOC 1s, LOC 2s. This is a very serious matter that must be corrected, and it must be corrected. And I want to really advise the AG, maybe government, to go back and consult and advise the country on this matter. It's a very serious matter. Honorable members, I am still giving you, because I am not going to continue on something that is an illegality. I will not do it. Honorable members, we are going to wait for a report from government. The government must advise this country on the way forward. I am still speaking. Now, if you're going to continue with procedure on what? We need a position of government, not to continue speculating. What will you tell your LOCs if you went to the village tomorrow? Honorable members, as we wait for a statement from government, as we wait for the position of government, this house and this house will be at the Jan's and dine to wait for the statement.
Carry this phone and follow her. Go.
Come back.